Hello and welcome to the show. Now, I am probably best known for my ability to roll just about anything. In Forza 4, many vehicles ended up in the fence at a sunset, having tumbled over. On Forza 6, certainly a similar story can be said, as I said in this Bronco, for a rather spectacular flip. Just about anything that can and will be rolled I have, from Formula 1 cars to trucks and so on. Sometimes, like this F100, need a little bit of tweaking, some camber, and fiddle with the suspension. But yeah, on the most part, they will find a way of rolling over. Sometimes they need a bit of assistance of the rain. However, there is one thing that I have never managed to successfully do, and that is complete the roll train. Now, we tried this on Forza 4, and while rolling cars individually is one thing, trying to roll a whole line of them one after the other off a curb is very difficult. We never succeeded at it in Forza 4, so I decided to have a go in 6. Now, the initial challenge, we're going to stay at this Sebring curb. This is a good curb for rolling of vehicles. I wanted to start with the Range Rovers. Now, when we initially tried this challenge, we were using the Range Rovers. We got everybody but one car to roll, which would have been 14 cars rolling off of a curb because there was one camera car. I'm being camera car for the purpose of this, so you can get a decent enough view. The replays really don't work, don't save for this stuff. Our first attempt with the Range Rovers, we got two of them to roll over. These Range Rovers are actually pretty good. They don't really like rolling. You can make them, but they're not the easiest of vehicles to roll, which did surprise me actually. They hold onto the road pretty damn well. As you see here, people are running the curbs, the cars. We got one get a little bit up on two wheels, but a lot of the time the Range Rovers just weren't interested. We also got people going for overtakes. Not a good idea to be trying that one. And there we go. We get one at the back to go as well. The Range Rovers just weren't particularly good for rolling over. The suspension actually dealt with the curbs in a fairly sensible way, which meant that they just didn't tumble over. Similar story with the Defender as well. The Defender doesn't really like rolling off a curb. These Range Rovers all completely standard. We got a little bit more on this attempt. Two have already gone. There goes a third one and a fourth one for good measure, but yeah, they really didn't get that many tumbling over this time around. So it was to change up the vehicles. The Ford Broncos, again, keeping these as standard cars, and as you can see, already much easier to get the vehicles tumbling around. That was an impressive launch as well, as the Bronco behind that car kind of fired it up extra into the air, and then we've got plenty more rolling over. A lot easier. The Bronco is a very easy car to roll over. You saw it go tumbling over in the dry. In the wet, it is considerably easier to get vehicles to roll. And now we have all the massive Fords running back towards the start line. The actual number of cars trying to compete this varied ever so slightly as people lagged out and disconnected. We also had to keep shunting the cars around, otherwise the game will kick you out for sitting stationary for too long. But yeah, I think we had about 18 cars were trying to go for a roll, with me as the 19th being a camera car. Next time around, again, we were seeing some were going. There's one of the black Broncos there managed to roll a long time after the actual curb there. The difficulty with this is, especially if you are further back in the train, if you are leading the train, things are fine. You can see the curb perfectly. But if you're further back, if you're in the mid-pack, it's actually quite hard to see where you're aiming for. So sometimes the people are going a little bit more spread out. This one here was going really well. Very slow, lazy roll. But one of the Broncos missed it through there. I think two cars have missed it. 3 cars there have not quite rolled off the curb. And now we just have the scrapyard of upside-down Fords over there as they all try to recover. That's actually pretty good going. For a completely standard car to get all but 3 to roll over is not that shabby at all. Really, I was trying a different camera point to show off. It is a spectacular sight. I think a glorious FailRace sight. There's the number of cars that are rolling off the curves. I love how there's one Bronco has managed to spin. The difficulty with we're kind of doing this in the wet is that, yeah, sometimes the cars, you just kind of lose grip and you spin rather than actually getting the grip roll that you want. The Broncos we tried for a while, but we couldn't do any better than having 3 miss it. So our next attempt with the Jelly Lancia Delta S4s. Now these things are incredible. They will roll over at about, I think I got it down to about 12 miles an hour. I think someone has rolled this in single figure miles an hour. They fall over very, very easily. So we figured getting a whole line of these to go over wouldn't be too difficult. Turns out it would be, you'd be surprised. They do fall over very, very easily. The problem is when you've got about 18 of them trying to fall over at the same time, it's always guaranteed someone's going to make a mistake. And as I said, if you carry a little bit too much speed with these vehicles, they kind of lose grip, they lose traction. Grip is what you kind of want to roll them over. It's a strange thing. But if you get these sliding in the wet, which is easier to do because it's wet, if you get them sliding, you're never going to roll. So you've got to keep them gripping onto the road. You see there with the first car, just started sliding, and the second one in this particular attempt, just start sliding, and then they're not going to roll over. You've got to have a very specific kind of speed almost. It's a strange thing. When you try and race these cars, they'll fall over constantly. When you try and make them fall over, you can always guarantee that not quite everyone is going to make it. And now we have a car park of upside down Lancias surrounding my Tesla. People were trying to get in some practice. There's just cars come tumbling past the camera. There's a Lancia stuck on its side. I'm going to give it a little bit of a nudge. We managed to completely and utterly pin it in position there, and we're going to get attacked by another Lancia that's decided to try and land on the boot of the Tesla. Yeah, these are funny cars to drive, and another one's going to go over just from trying to turn round. Yeah, a little bit awkward at times trying to maneuver these cars, but you see how you can kind of suddenly lose traction if you're not a little bit careful, and then they don't grip, and then they won't go up on to the 2 wheels. And that was proving to be a little bit problematic. Even these cars that do like to fall over very easily. And the other thing that we were finding as well is as the cars were falling over, they were kind of blocking cars later down the line, so you kind of be compromised as everything kind of scrambled its way through this first turn. Some cars fell over long before they even got to the corner. Delta gets punted miles. Someone's sliding past on their door. It was all a little bit messy at this first corner. They're pushing the Deltas around. Physics gets very unhappy, and we should just the cars rolling about all over the place. Yeah, turn 1 was almost a little bit too wide. It was causing a little bit too many problems. So we moved the positioning of it to a slightly narrower section of the track. This meant you had to pretty much take the same line as the cars ahead. And I was hoping that would work for getting everyone to roll. Unfortunately, one car just sort of rolls in front of the camera, and it's quite difficult to see what's going on further back. The difficulty here, well, as you can see, kind of everybody on this opening run got a little bit too clustered up on the corners. I didn't notice that before. There's a Delta that rolls over at 2 parked cars. Yeah, people kind of, I think somebody might have spun on the curb rather than properly rolling, and it kind of, everybody got stuck there. So you've got to kind of hope that you can get your car clear. You've got to try and get it, you've got to carry enough speed to get it clear so that it doesn't all clutter up the inside of the corner, but not carry too much speed that you suddenly slide it and you aren't able to roll. This one here, temps were going a little bit better, but again, still we see a couple of cars. Someone turned in a little too soon, got across the grass there. Still we tumble. A good number were going, just not quite got all of them. Actually surprised to see a car roll when it was kind of going across the grass in that manner. It's a little bit of a peculiar way. I was still shuffling around trying to find the best possible filming point that wouldn't get in the way of cars. It's never a good sign when the first car that goes doesn't manage to roll. Everybody else, though, was doing much better. It's going much neater. They were managing to almost roll their cars clear. The grey and red car there just about gets the roll, has to kind of take a slightly different position than the rest of them, almost lands on my Tesla, and, we were getting closer. We were getting closer with the numbers. It was a little bit easier to be consistent with these vehicles than with the Broncos trying to hit the curves, or with them. Yeah, having cars that'll roll just by turning a corner does tend to make this a little bit easier. I did find this quite amusing, though. Occasionally, as cars were going back to the start line, they could get a little bit stuck. As we see, the Delta there does a very nice roll trying to get to the start line. The problem is he goes to try and recover the car and promptly gets caught up on a wall. So I had to be a slight rescue vehicle while everybody else was lining up. Yeah, these things are incredibly easy to roll over, but as you were seeing, when you were trying to roll it over at a specific point, all in a line, you could almost guarantee someone was going to get things a little bit wrong. And that's It was frustrating. It was good fun. It was very silly fun, as the grey car has managed to miss it. The yellow car's not quite got it as well. My Tesla was getting the odd knock here and there as I tried to get better filming positions. Someone got a long way on 2 wheels, saved it, kind of bounced back up again and carried on the roll. Someone's rolled quite a lot before they even got to the first corner, and they're going to get a nudge for another one. And now there's just a collection of Lanciers on their roof. This corner wasn't quite working. I think it was just sort of too narrow, and cars were getting all clustered up, so they're kind of impeding one another. Wasn't really working. So we went to again try a slightly different corner around this track, a little bit wider one, bit more runoff area for the cars to roll into. And sure enough, this first attempt, we've got some great tandem rolling going on further back there. With a Martini car and a yellow car, got fantastic little rolls going on there between them. And still, some people were having issues, and it's never good to hit a car that's pretty much stationary. It's a little bit of a faster corner, this one, and again we were seeing a few cars as they were turning in, they were just taking too much speed. I mean, people that were further down the bottom of the train were going quicker towards the corner, so they had to manage their speed so as not to get too much that the car suddenly brakes sideways, because that is not what you want the vehicle to be doing. Again, the first car didn't quite get things right. We were finding that people were rolling at very different parts in the corner. Martini car, they're carrying far too much speed, was just sliding rather than getting it up on to its side. I managed to get knocked as someone gets an understeer, and still, it's a spectacular sight, most definitely. Didn't quite work at that point either. We moved to our final position. This was to be the most successful of the corners that we were trying this one on. It's all coming onto the back straight at Sebring. Sure enough, this first attempt, things were actually going very, very well with the cars. Unfortunately, there's a black and green car and a vehicle that followed it, didn't quite get over. A little further down the train, things went slightly wrong as still the vehicles tumble around. But yeah, it wasn't quite working. It's great fun. It was great fun to watch this. There's nothing quite like trying to get a roll train working. I managed to get to the wrong camera view. I was playing about with the cameras. I couldn't quite figure out which was the best. Third person one seemed to be working the best for filming this. Again, a few vehicles were not quite getting things right or carrying too much speed. We see a good number of Lanciers. Someone's managed to tumble long before they ever even got to the corner on that particular one. But yeah, there's always something went on as I get a face full of Lancia. Yeah, sort of everybody trying to get back to the start line, or to their kind of sort of waiting line almost. Always interesting to see many of the Lanciers falling over before getting there. This one was a peculiar one. If you watch in the distance, I don't know what on earth goes on in the middle of the train. I'm still not sure. You will suddenly see a Lancia fly up into the air. Oh, there he goes. I don't know what's going on back there. I don't know what caused that car to suddenly get launched airborne. But there we go. This one here, things were going very, very well at the front. So far, everybody had managed to roll. A little bit of gaps going on as someone loses control, just slides the car. A little bit of gaps, I suspect, from that car going flying up into the air. And that's 3 cars now that failed to roll. It started off so well, and yeah, didn't quite carry that momentum forward. There's a massive bounce from one of the red deltas there, and now everybody's trying to recover. Yeah, the amount of times we saw cars getting stuck on their roof and had to be rescued either by me or by another Lancia. There were quite a lot of vehicles that would get themselves stuck. Again, we see cars on the inside, actually kind of a little bit of a bad place to be stuck on the inside. Martini car has failed to roll this time out. Everybody else, though, was doing a good job. I think the one car managed to sneak behind the yellow vehicle there that didn't roll, and then we got another slider. You've got to be really, really careful. As strange as it is, you can't afford having these cars slide. Someone's managed to roll the wrong way through the corner, which is quite an impressive feat. And then we've got everyone recovering, which is going to punt the Lanciers around because, well, they do tumble very, very nicely. And still some cars stuck down that end were busy trying to recover. We were getting better. It was taking a lot of attempts. We were getting better, though. This time out, the front lot have all got through, and they've all managed to get the cars relatively clear of the corner. The red car on the insides rolled. Everything was going so very, very well. Someone's carried a lot of speed through theirs, up on 2 wheels, and the Martini cars just skidded at the wrong point. And that was all but one. All but one of the Lanciers managed to tumble over in that one. Pretty much the same outcome as we had in Forza 4. all but one vehicle. I think we may have lost a couple of cars through lag-outs, through disconnections and whatnot, but yeah, it's exactly the same as we saw in in Forza 4. We tried many times, and it was the best that we could do. You see that red car on the inside failed this time out. I get attacked by a green Lancia. Someone managed to roll the wrong way, found a gap, but got it rolled either way, and all of the synchronized tumbling. But still, one car missed out. And whatever we did, we couldn't do better than those couple of attempts there, where we got all but one to tumble over. So again, it is slight failure with the roll train. A decent number, a great number of vehicles were rolled over in this, and there are some incredibly bizarre shots almost of so many cars falling over. Unfortunately, we never managed to get the whole lot to go over in one go. There's always somebody that would slide the car, or somebody make slightly wrong line, do something a little bit wrong here and there. We just couldn't get the consistency, and yeah, in the end, we couldn't do any better than having one car fail to complete it. Little disappointment from this. A lot of fun though, an awful lot of fun to mess about. These Deltas are crazy vehicles. The Broncos actually did pretty well with getting as many Broncos over as we did, but. Yeah, still can't quite do the roll train. Either way, though, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.